Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Mom on the Verge podcast, where I aim to help you improve your sense of joy, purpose, and meaning in this life. We will talk about a lot of different ways we can do this, but ultimately, we'll be working toward finding our way back home to ourselves and remembering that even in the most challenging times, peace is only a breath away. I am your host, Katie Farinas, a mom, nurse, and yogi on a mission to improve mental health and build community in our world. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Before we start, I just wanted to say that I have coaching slots open for 2025. So if you are thinking that you really want to find more purpose and passion and joy and peace in 2025, please head over to my website. I have multiple types of coaching offers that fit different personalities, and different time commitments and different financial commitments. So whatever you're looking for, I'm sure you could find something that works for you. What's not on my website, and I mentioned, I think on my last episode, is that I am doing a pre-package offer. So if you're not interested in jumping into that 12-week container, I do have a package that is just three sessions with me. And after the 3 sessions, if you really enjoyed it and felt like you wanted to continue, then we would apply those 3 sessions to the 12-week container. So you wouldn't have to start all over with a 12-week container. And I can also do one-off sessions. So you can just schedule a session one at a time. I do think when we work together for longer periods of time, we have greater transformation. However, I do understand people have very busy lives, and so sometimes committing to a longer time frame is difficult. So if that's you, if you would love to jump in and get some coaching, but you are a little hesitant about the time commitment of a 3-month container, I totally get it. You can do the 3-package offer, or you can do a single session at a time. And lastly, it is getting to the end of the year. I'm setting my 2025 goals for this podcast, and I really want to double my listenership in 2025. So I am putting it out there. I want to at least double my listenership in 2025. And you can help me do that by rating and reviewing the show, following it if you haven't already, and sharing it with friends and family who you think could benefit from the messages of this show. I am passionate about helping people live a life that is filled with purpose, meaning, connection, and deep inner peace. And it is my mission to help women to feel those things in their lives. And this podcast is just one way of doing that. So if you can help me on my mission, I would deeply appreciate it. Okay, on to the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I wanted to come today and talk to you about magic. And I wish I was in front of an audience, because I'd love to see a raise of hands if I ask the question, who believes in magic? We all know that when we were kids, we had what they call magical thinking. It's what allowed us to play pretend with our stuffed animals or our action figures. It's what allowed us to believe in Santa Claus and Easter Bunny, or whatever, magical characters we believed in. And it was beautiful, right? That magical thinking was amazing. It made life feel so exciting and so fun. And it was really a gift that I think, as a child, we don't know any different, so we don't appreciate it. But as we get older, we lose magical thinking. That is just part of the development of our brain, normal development of our brain. And so life can sometimes start to feel like it's lost its magic, like there is no magic anymore, that was something that we had as a child. It wasn't real. We leave it in the past. We might enjoy secondary magic by having children and watching them have their own magical thinking. And engage in that type of activity and we enjoy it by watching them. But for us as adults, we may start to think that magic isn't accessible to us. But I'm here to tell you that that is actually not true. There is magic all around you every day, all the time. We just have to know how to access it. And the idea for this mini-so today came to me one night when I was with my daughter. I have a younger son who still believes in Santa, and if you are in a family that does the Santa Claus thing, you probably are very familiar with what's called the elf on the shelf. This elf is a little toy doll. It comes into your house. The children believe that it is a real elf and that it watches them during the day and reports back at night to Santa in the North Pole about their behavior. And the elf gets moved every night after the children go to bed to a different spot. And often the elves do kind of mischievous things, or they get set up in funny positions. And it's a lot of fun for the young kids who believe in it. So my son had gone to bed and my daughter was helping me to find a spot in our house for the elf and decide what we were going to do with him that night. Our elf happens to be a boy. And she said, "Oh, I miss when I used to believe in Santa and the magic of Santa." And that it made me sad for her, but it also was a real teaching opportunity about how we find magic in everyday life. So I thought it was a really great topic for us to talk about today, because if my daughter at 16 is feeling like life has kind of lost its magic now that she doesn't believe in these things, then I know as adults, a lot of adults out there are probably feeling the same way, that magic isn't real. But it really, really is. And the thing that makes us feel magical or feel like life is magical is through the emotion of awe. So awe is this beautiful emotion that makes us feel relaxed and joyful. It makes us feel like anything is possible. It makes us feel calmer and more peaceful. It stills our mind. It stills that mental chatter. It helps us drop our to-do lists, forget about our fears, our regrets, our anxieties. It makes us feel interconnected. So it makes us feel small and less self-important, but in the most beautiful way, because we start feeling like we are just a small piece of the whole rather than front and center and believing we are the whole, right? It quiets that ego mind, and allows us to see that we are really only just a piece of the puzzle. But we're also the whole puzzle. We are both. We are the wave in the ocean and we are the ocean. We are the ray of the sun and we are the sun. We are both. So it allows us to think, to expand our mind, and to see how we can be both of those things at the same time. It also makes us feel not only smaller and more interconnected to the world around us, but connected to something bigger than ourselves. And you could call that God or the divine or the universe. It doesn't really have to have a name. It's more of a feeling, that we somehow know that we are connected to something much bigger than just our individual self. It makes us feel more joyful. And all also is actually healthy for us. So there's a lot of science on all that we could get into. And if you get my newsletter, I will get into more of the science in the newsletter. So if you're not signed up for that, head over to my website and sign up so you can receive it. But there's a lot of science on what happens inside of our bodies when we experience awe. And one of those things is a pretty significant decrease in inflammation. And inflammation, as we now know, is the leading cause of most, if not all, diseases we experience in our lives. And so awe is not only, something that's just wonderful to experience, it's actually healthy for us. So I want to help you experience more awe and understand that magic is not just for kids. It's not just pretend. It is real. It is available to you every day, all day, anytime you want to drop into it. And there is a pathway to all. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the other thing that I want to emphasize is so that I want to make sure you're understanding what all is. I'm sure that everyone here listening to this show has probably experienced all multiple times in their lives. Some great examples, just to give you a frame of reference, some great examples would be seeing something really spectacular in nature, like if you've ever seen the Northern Lights or the Grand Canyon, or a really beautiful snowstorm, right? Where snow came in and covered everything and it just looked so magical and beautiful outside. The birth of your child would be another great example of a time where you may have experienced all. All also can come in when we listen to really beautiful music that stirs our soul, or we hear a poem, or we see a piece of artwork, something that makes us feel inside, right? And we may even get a physical sensation. We may even get goosebumps, or have something audible come out of our mouths, like wow, or a gasp, something like that. All also makes us feel internally more spacious. So when we start releasing that sense of all the fears and the regrets and the worries, when those kind of get pushed to the background, when we are in awe, it creates this sense of spaciousness in our bodies. And so we may feel lighter, both in our bodies and in our minds. We feel very open and receptive, right? Instead of locked down and blocked. We feel like time is slowing down. So not only does the mental chatter slow and our thoughts tend to slow, but it also feels like time is slowing. And you feel amazed, right? There's a sense of being amazed. There's a sense of being, of wonder, of curiosity. And again, like I mentioned earlier, a sense that something is touching your soul. It is beyond just, let's say we give the example of witnessing something really beautiful in nature, right? So we see it. It's obviously undoubtedly beautiful to the eye, but the beauty is actually touching something deep inside of you, into your soul, and we can feel that. We might feel a tingling sensation in the body, and we just feel that deep sense of interconnectedness. So those are all signs that you are experiencing all. So I hope that that helps bring you back to a time that you yourself experienced all. And if you can kind of reflect on that and capture it in your memory, then that helps you kind of come back to it and realize when you're experiencing it again. So how do we get to all with intention? That's the question, right? So we've all had these moments in our lives that were filled with awe, but likely they just happened, right? You were in the midst of an experience that was awe-inspiring. And that's amazing and it's wonderful. And I hope you have many more of them in your lives. But how do we intentionally create all in our lives? How do we walk around feeling like we have access to that magic anytime we want it? And the answer to that question is a spiritual teaching that I learned at the very beginning of my journey of spirituality and awakening. And I learned it through Eckhart Tolle. So if anybody knows him, you're probably going to know what I have to say. And it is the simplest lesson I ever learned, and yet one of the hardest to continuously implement. And that is present moment awareness. So this concept of being present in the moment is something that changed my life more than probably anything else has ever changed my life. And it seems so very simple, right? We just need to be present. We just need to be here and now and forget about anything that happened in the past and let go of anything that could potentially happen in the future and just live here. Sounds easy, right? Right. Well, I'm sure you've all tried it. And it is quite challenging to continuously live in the present moment. Now, of course, there are times. There are times where we have to be planning, right, for the future, or we have to be reflecting on the past for some reason. But for the most part, we live our lives every day. It is possible to be present in the moment. We don't always have to be looking into the future or reflecting on the past. There's a lot of time where it is quite appropriate for us to be in the present moment. And not only appropriate, but the best place to be. And yet it is a real struggle. It's very difficult for many people. And so if you struggle with that yourself, you are not alone. This is something that requires, honestly, especially in the way we live right now with email, social media, the pinging, the dinging, the constant pressure and busyness and people wanting of our attention. It is really, really challenging to live in the present moment, but it is the biggest gift that you could give yourself and your family and your friends and your work and everyone around you. And it is the required journey to all. So if you want to bring more magic into your life, and I am using the words magic and awe synonymously because to me, awe feels magical. If you want to bring more of that into your life, the key to that is learning how to live in the present moment. And sometimes that can be something, until we learn how to do it on a more regular basis, is something that we do with great intentionality. So it could be stopping during your workday, if this is possible, and taking a 15-minute walk outside and not bringing your phone and intentionally taking in the surroundings around you. And maybe even stopping to deeply look at something, deeply look at a flower, deeply look at a tree, deeply look at an insect that is on the ground that captures your attention. You don't really even have to leave your desk if you don't want to. I encourage the physical activity, but if you happen to have a window in your office, just looking outside the window and looking for some birds in the trees, and then just sitting and watching the birds with curiosity, with that openness. What are they doing? Why are they flying from tree to tree? Are they speaking to each other? Oh, those two look like they got into a tiff. Like really, really being deeply present and focused on what those birds are doing in that moment. Um, Music is another beautiful way. Sitting, often when we listen to music, we do it while we're doing something else, right? We listen to music while we're driving or while we're cooking or while we're cleaning. And that's all wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But what about just putting some headsets in or AirPods in and sitting down and just listening to the music, listening to every single note that is played in that song? Just what is a song? 3 minutes, right? And allowing the music to touch your soul deeply. This is another great way to access all. If you love art, looking at artwork or looking at, like paintings or photographs or sculptures, and again, deeply looking, taking the time to become really curious about each stroke or each curve, whatever it is you're looking at, each color, and how they all blend it together. And then even becoming curious about the person who created it. Who created this? What inspired them to create it? What were they thinking when they created it? How did this particular piece of art or piece of music come to be in this world? And then a deep sense of gratitude for it coming to life in this world, for the person who felt compelled to bring it into the world so that you now could have this sense of awe and appreciation. You can even find it on your dinner table. I often think when I sit down to eat about the number of people and conditions that were required to have that food in front of me on my plate. Right. So there were the farmers who tended the land, there was the sunshine, there was the earth and the minerals, and there was the people who picked it, and there were the people who packed it, and there were the people who shipped it, and there were the people who unpacked it. And I mean, there are so many people and processes involved in getting your food on your plate on the dinner table. And if you really stop to think about that, that is that is awe-inspiring. Uh, that is a miracle, is what it is. Each of these things are miracles that we take for granted every single day, all the time, because they are common parts of our lives. And we do tend to be self-focused and living either in the past or in the future. And so we're not taking the time to be hyper present, right? Just truly with what we're with. I am in awe right now that I get to have this conversation with you through technology, that I get to sit in my house, hook up to a Zoom call, record this, and then send this out to people literally all over the world. People are listening to this podcast. That is a miracle. I am in awe of that. But it's something I do all the time. Almost every day I'm on Zoom with someone. So taking the time, and we all do that, right? There's many of us, I should say, many of us who work from home, whatever it is, whatever technology that we use, even just our phones, the simple use of our phones, being able to send emails, being able to pay bills online, being able to do all of the things that we do with our phones. These are miracles. And they required a lot of human intervention and a lot of inspiration and dedication and a vision that someone brought forth into reality. That is awe-inspiring. So that is what I would like you to think about this holiday season, because the holiday season is often, described as a season of magic, a magical season. But I know for myself and for many, sometimes it does not feel like that as adults. We are like this season is actually really overwhelming. It is so busy and so stressful, and there's no time. And we want to make it magical for our children, right? So often as moms, that's what we do. We try to make things magical for our children. And we lose the magic, and we lose the ability to access the magic. And then how can we feel good about life? How can we be the best versions of ourselves? How can we tap into what we truly love if we don't see the magic that surrounds us all the time? So I hope that gives you some idea as to how to bring more magic into your life. And that you practice it, that you try it, that you sit down and listen to that music, or you look at something really beautiful in nature, really deeply look at it, or you just look at your plate of food on the dinner table and take some time to think about what was required to bring it to you, and then what it does inside your body, how it nourishes your body, and how it allows you to live and to do all the things that you do. I hope you start to search for the magic that is right in front of you all day, every day, and you get to feel more of it in your life. That is I do celebrate Christmas. So for me, that is my Christmas wish for you. It is my New Year's wish for you, that 2025 is filled with so much magic and joy and present moment awareness, because life starts to feel really, really good when we start to engage in these things. And that is what I want for you, a life that feels really, really good. All right, my friends, if you thought this episode was magical or helped you think about how you could see more magic or experience more magic in your life, please send it to a friend who you think needs it. If you could rate and review the show, I would deeply appreciate it. Help me get the word out. Help me to help more people come home to themselves and feel good in their life and experience the magic that this life has to offer. Have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate, or whatever holiday you're celebrating. I hope it is magical and wonderful and filled with love, and beautiful memories are created, and there's a sense of warmth in your heart, and connection to your family and to your friends and to the world at large. I also hope that you are able to be deeply present for this, for the experience of these holidays, and that you get to feel the love that I am sending you. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your week, my friends.
Hi, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, I ask that you please like the show, follow, subscribe, or share. The way that podcasts work is the more people that do one of those things, the more likely it is that when someone's looking for a podcast to listen to, our show will pop up for them. I started this podcast because I really see there's a great need in our world for people to feel more peace, joy, love, and acceptance in their lives. And I think we can do that when we have a greater sense of self-awareness. We could become conscious creators of our own lives. And I'm seeking to do that for as many people as possible. So if you could help me by liking, sharing, or subscribing to the show, I'd really appreciate it. And hopefully someone hears a conversation that changes their life. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Much love.